occurred as we shut down the units, and then as part of various process unit startup, we've had some intermittent flaring over the last few weeks. So we are currently investigating the cause and will include some key findings in public reports. And I can also say that there is a group of Chevron people at the city council meeting tonight, also kind of giving a more in-depth report. So I would also recommend you tune in to that as well. And I think the community member before mentioned that about the city council meeting tonight as well. So it's the same meeting. And then we can also have someone come from Chevron to the MAC to also give a more in-depth report as we are able to, and answer more questions. But honestly, the meeting tonight on city council will probably answer a lot of your questions.
And if I could, and I would like to tag on what Councilor Lilly has just spoken and said. Also, in order to get an idea of what has just been presented to you, you can go to Supervisor Joya's website, his Facebook, and he has actually put a notification of what has gone on over the last couple of weeks with the flaring. So you're welcome to go to his site and you can see that information also. It is open to the community.
And if I could just say one more thing, because I know this comes up a lot, is so we're also aware that there's been some odor complaints around Richmond over the last 3 weeks. And, you know, we take these odor inquiries seriously and investigate them. And just so for everyone's awareness that through this time frame, Chevron and other regulatory agencies took a lot of air quality measurements throughout the communities, and our readings were all under key detected limits and below health standard limits in the surrounding neighborhoods. So we haven't been able to pinpoint the source, but it's something that we are watching closely. And again, I recommend that you tune into the city council meeting tonight for more information. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other public comments?
Yes, hi, my name is Berta Alvarez, and I have a question. I have seen so many the scattered places, the houses that are being breaking, and there is a lot of trash in some of them. The MAC members, somebody knows how the housing authorities are monitoring this, like are they like come regularly to check on their places and clean them, or just leave them and wait until some neighbor calls them or do something about it? It's just a mess around the neighborhood, and I would like to know who we can contact or who can take care of this.
Okay, I'm gonna take a stab at it and then I'll let our service coordinators speak on it, but we do have public works, a housing authority that do make daily runs. This is something that happens every day, as you see dumping. But I do have Janie Holland here, which is from CHDC, that is our service coordinator, that is working with the housing authority, and she will give you some information, and she can put it in the chat to more than have you to make those phone calls. But we do have those individuals that travel daily for trash removal. So Janie Holland, if you would like to speak.
Yes, in terms of the housing authority is private property. So if there's some issues with the housing authority, the person that you might want to call is Mario Ronaldo. I just lost the number. And his telephone number is 925-393-3145. So he is one of the supervisors of the housing authority, so you might want to give him a call. If it's items on the street, then you might want to call our office, which is 510, call me 760-3241.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, anyone else for public comments?
Yes, I came a little bit late, but I came, my name is Antoinette, and I came, Antoinette Holland, and I came to talk about the homeless encampment that's on the Parkway that you guys are gonna move on up to the other side of, what's that street? I think it's,
Hensley.
Hensley, yes. And so I came to speak about that, and from what I was told,
Yeah,
from what I was told earlier this year, was that that encampment was originally supposed to be in the Marina District, but the citizens of the Marina District opposed it. So it ended up being placed over on Hensley.
on Castro.
Castro and Richmond Parkway. So from what I was told is that they're gonna move it to the other side, right next to the mom and pop store. Liquor store, market.
Okay, not directly across, but they're looking at that land, that strip of land to be used. They're looking at it to be used, but we're still looking at other sites.
Okay, so,
So it's not a known, it's not a sealed deal. Right now, we're trying to have it spread it out, move people into temporary housing, because as you know, that's a temporary site.
right,
But due to the COVID, you had to sit back, wait, until you get things moved. But that's one of the temporary sites, and that's one of the things that we do have stakeholders. I don't know if you attended the stakeholder meeting.
that was yesterday.
Right, that was yesterday, stakeholders. So if you come into the stakeholders, you will hear a little bit more information, what sites are being looked at
Okay,
at this point. But as for Hensley, yes, we're looking at to move across Hensley. That's just to spread out the condensedness that is happening there, okay?
okay,
And to have people to move on forward into another state of looking at housing or looking at another area, okay, at this point. But yes, to move over, but it's not directly across from the strip, is elongated.
but it's still in the same.
It's in the same area, but it's elongated. It won't be directly as you step across the street in front of the store. It's more across at the open end of the Castro and Vernon to go across and to be fenced in to secure, okay?
So my issue with that is
Mhm.
that first of all, I don't understand why can't they move it to another. The reason why I say that is because I moved to Richmond about 12 years ago, and I have noticed that it is trash everywhere, but especially since the pandemic and since we have that encampment, you have fires, cars on fires, cars that are on fire constantly, debris, in the parkway when you're trying to drive. It's an eyesore. I'm so embarrassed to invite people to come to my house in Richmond because it is disgusting. It is horrible. And from what I was told when I spoke with our representative in this area, and someone else told me, I can't mention the name, it originally was supposed to be in the Marina District. And the citizens have the opportunity to oppose to it. So it ended up being in our neighborhood. And me as a homeowner, as a person who paid taxes here in the county of Richmond, it seems to me that the city did a horrible, they failed in what they were supposed to do as opposed to keeping it clean, keeping it nice. They just put them there and just forgot about it. And we are the ones who have to, it seems like the things from the city spills over to the county. But what I wanna know, why can't we spread it around? Why can't we move it to a nicer neighborhood? Why do we always have to move everything to north of Richmond? And it's never kept up, it's never clean, it's horrible. And we always, in underserved minority communities, it's a disparity, it's not balanced. They always put stuff over in our neighborhood. They never put stuff over in the Marina District, Point Rich. any of that area. And so what I'm saying is that me as a citizen of Richmond, North Richmond, and just as a taxpayer and all of us who are probably on here, we are sick and tired of being the community, the minority community, people of color, where they always put things, undesirable things in our neighborhood, but then they keep the other neighborhoods like the Marina area very nice. You wouldn't even think you're in the city of Richmond. It's filthy. They need to start cleaning, and they need to start they need to stop dumping their problems on us, and they need to start spreading it around. That's what I've noticed. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Okay.
Absolutely. No one wants to drive home every day or drive in their neighborhood. And the problem when they moved on that other side, they dumped, that other side was horrible. They just cleaned that up. Trash, mattresses, fire, things on that other side that they're talking about. It's absolutely horrible over there too. It's just dumping. It's just gonna get worse. But I feel if they move it to another area, that's a nicer area with people that are not of my color and less minorities, then they would probably keep it up. But why can't it move over there? That's what I want to know. Does anyone know why they decided not to put it in that area?
So I take out everything that you said. Those questions, are you in the city or the county for?
I am in the county.
You're in the unincorporated area.
Unincorporated, and then what happens is, whatever the city does, it spills over into the unincorporated areas. Now it's just trash along there. They clean stuff up, but they never pick it up. You have cars that are in ditches that are burned up from that homeless encampment. We're thinking it's fires all around, and it turns out even the refinery police said that most of the fires that they have dealt with have been in that homeless encampment. Okay. And they told me it's nothing that they can do. We have to come to meetings like this and address it with you guys and with the mayor and his department, the city of Richmond. Right. Because it's like I said again, it always spills over to us. Right. And we're tired of it.
Right. And I've been at it for a long time, a long time. One of the things at one point we had really cleaned up North Richmond, but due to the changes that have occurred over the past few years, it has gotten worse. And now that we're here, changes. I'm talking about the COVID, I'm talking about the homeless, I'm talking about everything that has impacted the city and the unincorporated areas. Not only our areas, but you look at Oakland, you look at Berkeley, it's happening the same way. People are homeless at this point. And if you notice, it was horrifying. Not only where we're at here, but if you looked at Ashby, it was the same way. You go down, you go to Oakland, you take off 7th Street, down Longwood, so it's here. Yeah. You know, it's an ongoing situation, and the only thing we can do is work with individuals that can actually move the garbage and work with them so it won't happen. It's a Band-Aid to move it somewhere else, of course, yes. But right now, Michelle Mylan is our coordinator, and if our staff could put in the chat for you to contact her, everything I've heard, we feel, and we are experiencing it. So if you can contact Michelle Mylan, let her know your concerns, we can hook you up with some numbers and we can take it from there. Okay. And totally appreciate what you said, okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. With that, we're gonna move on, okay? We're closing out for the public comments, and now we're looking at item 4 for law enforcement. Do we have anyone from our law enforcement here tonight?
Yes, Lieutenant Buford, Contra Costa County Sheriff's Office Base Station.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so I'll be brief. For the month of October, you guys had 239 calls for service as compared with September 271. The main thing that you had in October, you had another shooting at 5th and Market. Individual did not die. However, we were able to locate 3 suspects and recover 3 firearms for those that was responsible. A couple of other calls of gunshots heard throughout the month, but nobody was located, no one was injured, and there was no evidence of shell cases or anything out there like that. And with that, I'll open up questions for the board first.
Okay, do we have any questions for our lieutenant group?
I'll move it.
I do have a question.
Please state your name and proceed.
Linda Woodards.
Okay,
Okay, my question is, I'm a North Richmond resident, and I noticed yesterday that two sheriffs kind of was following this young guy, and he pulled around on Market. One got behind him and one got in front of him. So he asked them why they stopped him. No reason, but they snapped a picture of him and told him it was his lucky day. So what is a person supposed to do in that situation?
If they felt that we violated their rights, so they want to file a citizen complaint, they're more than welcome to do that.
Okay, but taking a picture, can you give me any insight on that?
No, ma'am, I cannot,
Oh,
because I don't know what the incident was about, and I don't want to speak ignorantly of it. So if that individual or the deputies I know and they want to contact me, then I can totally address it without a doubt. But I don't want to speak unintelligent when I just simply don't know.
okay, because they didn't say anything and didn't do anything to him but to take a picture. So I'm nosy and I'd be right out there. So I was just wondering.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
thank you, Ms. Wood. Are there any other questions? For Lieutenant Rupert, any other questions? Comments? Okay, hearing none, thank you, Lieutenant, for your report.
Yes, everyone have a great evening.
Okay, will do. Do we have anyone from the city of Richmond? Richmond Police Department here. That was our sheriff. Okay, hearing none. Do we have anyone? Do we have Officer Abernathy here from CHP? He's not present either. Okay. So that's the end of our law enforcement for our reports. Going into item 5, this is our discussion, which will be a discussion and a recommendation for a proposal to be named the Senior Center for Ms. Corrine Sane. I don't know who's doing this presentation. Could they come forward and give us their name and do the presentation?
Yes. Thank you, Chair King Meredith, Robert Rogers, County Supervisor Julia's office. I believe that Don Gilmore was supposed to give this presentation, but he's unable to be here tonight. And so I will fill in, rather than, we don't necessarily need to do a recommendation tonight, although the board certainly may opt to do that. But I will just go into a brief overview of the situation. It's been brought to my attention by a number of community members that this senior center, which is currently under the ownership of CHDC, could be appropriately named for the beloved Corrine Sane. She's worked here for many years, decades in fact, I believe, and she has recently had to take leave. She is not feeling well. Her health is a concern at this time. But here in North Richmond, it's really important for us to always pay homage to our heritage and to the legacy. And appropriately, we like to name things in this community for people who have served the community, people of distinction and kindness and greatness. And Ms. Corrine certainly fits that description. Now, Supervisor Joya is excited about this opportunity. He's excited about this idea, and he wants to take the lead from the community. He wants the community to drive what this ought to be. And so the MAC is the important voice, at least initially, in the community about an issue like this. And so suffice to say that we have a building here that is extremely important. It is a great credit to, and really incredible that the leadership at CHTC, so many great leaders we know at CHTC. They stepped up when the chips were down and they took on this building and all that that entails. And they maintain it and they beautify it, and it remains a gathering space for our seniors and for others here in the community. And no one has worked longer or harder at this center than Miss Corrine Singh. And Miss Corrine is unable to work at this time. But when our members of communities, when they need us to lean on them, or when they need to lean on us, we want to be there for them. And we know that so many have leaned on Miss Corrine over the years, and now she wants to lean on us. So with that, I would say that there's a lot of momentum and a lot of goodwill around the idea of potentially naming this center for the beloved Miss Corrine Singh. And I would like the MAC to be able to provide some input as well as the public. And we could certainly, vote on something now, or we could further study or further consider. We do have 15 minutes budgeted for this item, which I unfortunately probably took 5 or 6 of. But let's hear more, please. And forgive me, the presentation wasn't perhaps as befitting as it should have been for Ms. Corrine, but I really wasn't fully prepared for it because I thought that it might be given by someone else. So with that, back to you, Chair Kimberly.
Okay, thank you, Staff Rogers. So with that, hearing that, it is the pleasure, what is the pleasure of the council to continue this discussion or to move it for next month? What is the pleasure? May I hear from each one of you online?
Hello.
Okay, everybody will talk at one time. Let's go, okay.
Cordell and Marina have their hands up.
Okay. Let's hear from the staff. Let's hear from the council first.
Hello, this is Princess Robinson. I put in the chat that there's no doubt about her leadership and stake in this community, and I wouldn't think twice to name this center after her. So I would definitely support the notion to vote today on naming the community center after Ms. Corrine.
Now, are you taking a motion to vote or just a recommendation to
No,
support?
just a recommendation.
It's a recommendation to clarify. Thank you, Councilwoman Scott. This is a recommendation if, number one, if we want to have more discussion on this, as Staff Rogers said that he wasn't too prepared for this. Don, our chair, was saying that we're to do it for next month, but I was just want to know where were your feelings at this point to carry on or to move it for a more open and a more robust discussion for next month. This is what I'm asking, to continue this or have a more robust conversation or discussion for next month.
I'm in support of moving forward with the supporting the recommendation.
I also would support definitely moving forward the recommendation. I agree with exactly the way Princess worded it. I think that there's no one like, she's done amazing work for this center. I mean, when I think of the center, I think of her, so.
Okay.
Cordell Handler and Marina Brown have their hands up.
Right, yes. Cordell?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Okay, I think I like the idea of naming the center after Corrine because she's a sweet lady. So I will go along with what the others have stated. So I will turn it over to Marina.
Yes, President Marina Brown of Neighborhood Council.
I think this is a wonderful recommendation and a definitely great idea because Ms. Sane has been a pulse in this community. She has opened the doors of that multifamily center when nobody else's door was open. She has fed the hungry, the needy. She supports, excuse me, all types of nonprofit community-based organizations with her feedings and whatever she can do. She would open that food pantry. She's helped us serve some of our clients when food was needed, when resources was needed, bikes, you name it, when people didn't have anything for Christmas. She's been that beacon of hope and light. So I'm hoping that this recommendation does go forward. And I'm also in hopes that you would even name the street after her, because she has been that phenomenal female that has made things happen here in North Richmond and at that Multicultural Family Center.
Thank you, President of the Neighborhood Council, Ms. Marina Brown. Let's hear from the other council members, please. I've only heard from two.
You heard from three.
Okay.
This is Dulce. I agree on moving forward with the recommendation.
Very good. Thank you, Councilwoman Duce. Okay. Okay, let's hear. Could you? I can see which one.
Can you see me now?
Oh, yes, Cynthia, please.
Good afternoon. I would just like to say that I think the senior building went up in the early 80s. I was on the preservation committee when that building went up. And but I just want to say prior to that, that me and Corrine and a few more others, we worked down at the building y'all call youth, down there in the projects where the youth was at. I forget the name of it. We call it Project Pride. Well, we had a building, we had that building and we called it Youth Community Center. And Corrine had worked down there for about 15 years in the projects prior to coming to the senior citizen. So the senior citizen building would be like 40 years. And then I'll give her a good 15 years down at the Youth Community Center in the projects. So that's about 50 plus years of dedication to the community.
Thank you, staff. Cynthia Jordan. Anyone else? Well, I would like to put my 2 cents in as being holding down as chair. I have worked with Ms. Corrine for many, many years, not just with the center here, the senior center, but also was one to actually see the transition from the neighborhood house to CHDC. I feel that her work is surmountable for what she's done here. You can't put a number on it, you can't put money on it. The time that she spent here doing, it's always been out of love. And with that, I don't want to get emotional with it, but I agree. So by saying that, and hearing, we have all come to the conclusion at this point of today, November the 2nd, 2021, to let it be known that this center, the Multicultural Center in North Richmond under CHDC, will be looked at and will be called the Miss Corrine Sane. In the honor of Miss Corrine Sane, this senior center will stand. May I have a motion to that? May I have someone to put a motion to what I have just presented to the council?
I'll motion that. This is Lily.
Thank you, Councilwoman Lily. May I have a second?
Second, I second that. This is Princess.
And Councilwoman Princess Robinson. May I hear any abstentions at this point? Any questions? Hearing none. May we all have, excuse me,
Before the vote,
before the vote, we have a question, yes.
this is Jamie Holland. I just kind of like to get a little clarification on this because there is a process for renaming the center. So, and because the center is on the CHDC, I think that probably Don would want to present this to the CHDC Board of Directors and go through the proper process to getting the center named. So I would make a friendly, well, I can't make a friendly amendment, but that we refer to Don Gilmore and let him come back and bring back to this body the fact that he's vetted through his board of directors, because it's going, in order to do this, you don't just go up there and put a name on the wall. There is a process and it costs money and all of that, and CHBC may be the one that may have to bear these expenses. So I would suggest that we refer it over to Don Gilmore, let him come back to this body next month and give a report out as to how the process will be done.
Thank you, Jane, for that information. And if I may, I would like to call on the president of the neighborhood council, which is one of the board of directors for CHCC, the same as myself. If she can chime in and be the one to present that to Mr. Gilmore.
Sure, I can present that at this month's Board of Directors meeting.
Thank you, President Marina and Board of Directors of CHCC. With that, okay, as we have talked about it, and allegedly this is where we're going for this to happen, it will be reported to the Board of Directors of CHCC. It will be channeled through our Executive Director, Mr. Donald Gilmore, and we will come back with that information at our next meeting. So we're hearing that. We're all in favor with that. May I hear ayes?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Hearing any no's at this time? Thank you. Hearing none. Okay, with that, staff, Robert, Rogers, if you could have that noted, and we will move forward from that. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you. And thank you for your input, Jane. Okay, item B with a discussion, and it looks like it's a discussion and a recommendation. And it is number CD LP 21-02046, the application for 120,215 square foot warehouse project at 411 Brookside Drive. And it's at the Pantone Development Corporation, and it will be for 35 minutes. Do we have the representative here tonight?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Sonia Kins from Pantone Development Company, and I'm representing our firm this evening.
Okay, thank you. Please present.
All right. Our project is in the early stages, and we're interested in getting feedback from the committee here and from the community to redevelop what is commonly known as the Nevada nursery site that's located at 411 Brookside Drive. And the property right now has 2 residences and then some greenhouse areas, and is located near Brookside and Fred Jackson Highway. It's about 6.8 acres. And it's currently zoned heavy industry for this area. And it would be our intention to remove all of the improvements that are there and construct a new facility We classified it as warehouse distribution for the purposes of our application, as that is the most generic description of a big box building of this capacity. But we do understand some of the concerns in the North Richmond area about straight logistics and warehouse uses. And so it would certainly be our intention to focus mostly on manufacturing and production type uses, where the trucks that would be coming in and out would be bringing in materials and then taking out completed product, as opposed to what people typically think of for warehouses. We all know Amazon, but it's the storage of goods and services where you have a more heavy truck presence. We would be looking more at a manufacturing or production use for this project. And let's see, hopefully you can all see my screen. Brookside Drive would be here. It would be facing the property that's owned by Centerpoint, that's there on the corner of Fred Jackson and Brookside, that's already in the early stages of redevelopment itself. We do have a setback here. The Public Works Department suggested about a 14-foot setback for additional road space, as well as a sidewalk and landscape buffer. And there's a creek on the back side of the property, so we have taken into account the creek setback area and have a landscape and storm drainage area here along the back to buffer our project from the creek and the tree canopy associated with the creek. And we've kept all of our docks inside the little notch area here, with the back facing the Urban Tilth Farm facility. In respect for what they have going on there, we figure that they probably would not like to look directly into our truck dock. So we've oriented the building to be having some of that delivery and distribution activity be as far from them as possible. We're definitely in the early stages for this project. We are under contract to purchase the property. We are non-refundable on that purchase. And we're working with the current landowners and their residents and giving them a pretty long tail to relocate and take care of the greenhouse operations that are there now. So it is, we're fully committed to acquiring this property, but are being respectful to the families that have lived there for so many years, to give them the opportunity to transition out. And so we are hoping to be a complementary to the area and not trying to be disruptive to the North Richmond neighborhoods that we are in. I'm not sure if anyone has any questions, but this is very preliminary. Typically for a project that we're presenting to a municipal advisory council, we would have color renderings of the landscaping and things of that nature. But this is our very first go round with Contra Costa County. And so we're, in addition to getting feedback from the neighborhood, also getting our first round of feedback from the county planning staff themselves. And so it's our intention to take the comments that we get from all of the different departments and incorporate them in as we proceed with this development project. I know you gave me 35 minutes, but I only gave you 5. Yeah. I'm not sure if anyone has any questions. I can talk a little more about manufacturing and what our experience is constructing manufacturing projects if you're interested, or if you have questions about the project itself. I'm not sure community-wise what types of questions you'd like me to address.
Okay, so council, do you have any questions at this point, or do anyone in our audience have questions? This is the time.
Hello, I have my hand raised. This is Princess Robinson. I actually have a lot of questions around the project itself, like what is it? What is the project, and what are you going to be manufacturing? What are you going to be developing there?
Okay.
So yeah, because I don't think I heard any of that.
Okay. I think the best way that I can describe it is we would be removing the improvements that are there now, which would be the 2 residences and the greenhouses, and we would be constructing the 120,000 square foot building that is pictured on the screen, just as a general layout. So it'd be parking in the front facing Brookside Drive. The building would be approximately 40 feet tall and would look very similar to the warehouse buildings that you see in the area on the other side of Brookside. It has a fairly large presence on the front, and all the dock activity would be back here in the back. In terms of what we would be manufacturing, it's our intention to look for kind of an advanced manufacturing, light industry type tenant, but we are building the project what we call speculative. So we do not have a tenant in tow right now. We would be marketing the project for lease to a tenant while we're going through the entitlement process and the permitting process with Contra Costa County. We would be looking for a tenant in parallel. So initially the building would be built vacant, and then the specific build out, how much office square footage and exactly where manufacturing versus completed product storage would go inside the building would come as we identify a tenant for the project. And we did a project similar to this in the city of Newark. In 2019 and 2020, we built 3 buildings on a speculative basis like this with the intention to attract manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, research and development tenants. And we ended up with Facebook's division Oculus Rift in one of the buildings, a biotechnology medical production facility in one of the buildings, and just most recently, the 3rd building was occupied by FreeWire for EV charging. So, the biotech may not be the most appropriate for this particular facility, but the manufacturing of electronic equipment or EV charging, alternative energy, things of that nature are all definitely the types of tenants that we would hope to attract in a facility of this nature.
Thank you for sharing that experience, but I just want to say that I'm not, it's not really capturing me, because I want to say that there's a lot of people, cannot forget that there's a lot of people that come to our communities, buy up these vacant lands and these lots in hopes of creating more businesses out here, and then sit on that land and get wealth off that land, like you're saying, by renting it out and stuff like that. But so I just want to say that. So I'm not really, it hasn't really this project has not really captured my interest yet. But I'll pass it on to Dulce. Thank you.
Thanks, Princess. So I see in the application that there are 151 proposed parking spaces. Can you speak to that?
Yes. So as we are developing a project, we have to make some assumptions relative to office and warehouse or storage manufacturing spaces. And so initially we said, well, if we had 2% office, over here it'd be about 2,500 square feet. And the rest of the project was used for manufacturing and storage of the products that go into manufacturing, and then the distribution of the end product. Generally speaking, based on the parking ratios, I'll spare you all of the math, but we'd end up with needing about 130 parking spaces. But understanding that today we don't know the breakdown between the manufacturing and storage aspects of this building, we wanted to make sure that we were well positioned to have enough parking spaces for any type of tenant that would come in. And so by adding the extra spaces back here in the back and coming up with a little over 150 parking spaces, we can ensure that the tenants have the adequate parking available for the manufacturing use, whatever that might be.
Okay, and the project will also remove 18 trees.
Yes, ma'am.
And there will be some that are probably 6 types of trees that are protected. So will it just be Like, will the feel of it just be concrete and 150 parking spaces?
Let's see, I'll pull up the landscape in a moment. Most of the trees that are being removed are in this area here in the front, located in the backyard of the two homes. And so the property right now is very open,
Oh,
although.
Sonia, we can't see the image of, I
Oh,
think.
I'm sorry.
Map.
I'm sorry?
If you can show, excuse me, if you can show the trees for Appendix A, as you were explaining to Councilwoman Duce, if you go to Appendix A, it is tree photos, it's the photos of the trees, and the trees that are gonna be removed and the ones that are gonna stay and remain. Some of them are overgrown, dead, they need to be removed because they are obstructing what needs to be developed, So if our presenter can show the Appendix A, as she's talking to our Councilwoman Duce, to show what the trees look like for the removal of the many trees that will be removed and the ones that will be remain. If you can do that.
Thank you, Chair. I was just asking for Sonia to refer. I think we weren't looking at the image that Sonia was referring to.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure. It says on the screen that I am still screen sharing, but I am not sure why you are not able to see it. Are you able to see what I have on the screen now?
A row of trees.
I don't know if you're able to see the aerial image from our arborist report that's on the screen now that identifies the locations of the trees that need to be removed and how they are very specific to the homes. And so they're essentially your backyard, your standard backyard tree. It's my understanding that there's only one heritage tree on the property and it's in the back in this area, and that it's our intention to retain the heritage tree. We're not removing the heritage tree.
And my other question, and then I can hand it over to the next person. Have you all done a community assessment of what's surrounding the community and some of the assets and how it would impact? I know there's been an environmental review, but I'm wondering if there's been a review around the community assets.
That question, we're fairly early in the stages of the development for the project, so we have not gotten very far into the CEQA requirements. So reviewing the impact on aesthetics and biology and the traffic and things of those nature, that's actually part of the entitlement process that we go through with the county as we're getting the entitlements on our project. So we're in the very early stages. At this point, we've evaluated biological mostly. And so we've taken a look at the impacts on the flora and the fauna, the tree removal, but we have not gotten very far into the analysis of, say, traffic impacts or air quality, if that was what you were asking.
Mostly I was asking about the surrounding neighborhood. If there was a warehouse plopped on that acreage or that parcel, how that would impact, and if there's, for example, any major community hub where families, children, or large events take place, and how that would impact the community. But it sounds like that hasn't happened. Is that correct?
Correct. That falls under the category of, we'll say, sensitive receptors. And so as part of our analysis on parallel, when we start looking at traffic and air quality and noise, a broader view of the neighborhood is taken, and we take a look at whether there are any schools or homes or anything nearby that could be considered a sensitive receptor and how they would be impacted by our project. So that is something that we would be doing but has not been started yet.
Okay, I have two comments, and then I promise I will pass it on to the next person.
Not a problem.
So you mentioned the greenhouses. Do you have any historical data those greenhouses or any information on those?
I don't have a lot of information about how they've been used recently. I do know that many of them are in a state of disrepair. They're more open planters than greenhouses at this point within the existing nursery area. They have been used in the past for a rose nursery. And so that's actually something that we've been evaluating from an environmental perspective and making sure that it's our understanding of what pesticides have been used there and what types of impacts that might have to the soil to make sure that we're taking care to treat those types of chemicals should we come across them in the appropriate manner when we start demolishing the buildings that are there for our new improvements. And so we have a robust environmental team within Panettone Development Company that has been very involved up to this point and has been delineating hotspots and chemical from the pesticides that have been used over time. But in terms of the production of the nursery at the moment, it's not very much as I understand it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my last comment is, so I have concerns because there are community spaces that are significant to the North Richmond community to place a warehouse on that specific location. In addition, the greenhouses are historical. They were used by Japanese rose gardeners, and it would be a huge disservice to the North Richmond community to lose those warehouses. I do not recommend to move forward with recommending this development project. And I would actually suggest that we as the MAC submit a formal letter if all are in agreement to it looks like Adrienne Valise is the staff person at the county to submit comments before November 15th. Those are my final comments. Thank you.
Yes, go ahead,
yes.
Hi, I'm community member Doria Robinson. I'm a Richmond resident and I'm the executive director of Urban Health. I really wanted to comment on this because we're actually the neighbors. Our North Richmond farm that we actually just purchased, which is a huge deal, is right next door to this property. And we have a number of concerns about what's currently proposed, which we are hearing for the first time tonight. The biggest concern that comes to mind is that a 40-foot tall building is going to shade out the farming operation that we have, making it really difficult to actually grow the food that we grow for 500 Richmond families, a good portion of those being North Richmond families and seniors at the senior center. We grow that food for them every week. It would make that whole operation really difficult. We also host over 3,000 people so far, even in the current state of the site at the site. That's families for all different kinds of activities and youth employment program in the summer, and all of that will be impacted by another increase in trucks, pollution, activities that are not related to the well-being of the community. And I think the final concern is kind of what has been raised so far around the historic nature of this particular site. It's one of the last standing sites of the whole kind of Asian heritage in the community, the greenhouses. It tells a story that's really powerful and important about what happened in North Richmond, during the war, after the war, the presence of Japanese Americans on the land, and also just more broadly, the more that we get into our work around the farm, working with the Richmond History Museum and other people who have been in North Richmond for a long time, there's this history of agriculture that's just being paved over. And I just feel like I just want to bring it up to folks that whenever we share that history of the Cabbage Patch, of the Black cowboys who were at that site that we're on, and of all these other activities that have happened with North Richmond youth, it is so empowering to them to envision the landscape and participate in the landscape in a different way, outside of the concrete, outside of the trucks, outside of the pollution. And I just want to make sure and just share those thoughts with the MAC, and hope that you take them into consideration. Thank you. And also, I'm going to be doing a presentation on our project later on today, so you'll hear more about what we're up to. Thank you.
Thank you, Executive Director Dorian.
Hello, Eleanor Thompson. Can I say something?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. I was also thinking of Urban Teal at the time they were speaking of that project. So I hope they follow the community interest in you know, not put that there. I too was thinking about Urban Teal at the time they brought that project up. And that's pretty much what I had to say.
Thank you. Ms. Eleanor Thompson. Yes, I'm sorry. Staff Cynthia Jordan.
Yes, I was just thinking like, we're all here at this meeting on different levels as far as what we know about the property. Some of us has been here since the 50s, and some of us came here in the 2000s. So to answer, I think Dulcie's questions, the name of the nursery was the Adachi Nursery. The Adachi. And like you say, the greenhouses, trying to preserve some piece of history. Where the Richmond Parkway is now, as I mentioned before, all that was greenhouses. That was a Japanese nursery also. I mean, the entire parkway, all that was greenhouses. But what I want to say about this area, we talk about the agricultural aspect of the area, what it once was, the lettuce patch and whatever else that grew out there. And then it kind of like became like light industrial once that went away. And then at one point in the North Richmond plans, all that area was supposed to be housing, like another addition to North Richmond. And we lost the funding for that. But we had major plans just to expand the city of North Richmond out towards that way. So now the industry is coming back. So question is, you know, what can we do about it? Only thing I can think of is that when industry and major jobs and corporations come into your city, we're supposed to benefit from that. If we can't do nothing to stop them, well then we're supposed to benefit. It's like this big company is coming to our town, we're all gonna have jobs the whole 9 yards, but that doesn't happen in North Richmond. So that's the only thing I can say, that if we can't beat them, join them and try and get some type of benefit for the community. And that's basically all I have to say about that.
Thank you, Staff Cynthia Jordan. Are there any other comments?
I have a comment, just building off of what Cynthia, you mentioned. The development project looks like it's still in pre-development phase, which means that they're still not far along in the process. And so we can still, as the voting members of the MAC, submit a formal letter to the staff so that they can put together in their staff report. In terms of next steps, we can also go to the Planning Commission, the County Planning Commission, if it gets to that place. But I, on my end, do not recommend to move forward with this development project. It sounds like Princess doesn't either. And I heard from the community or the speakers that spoke that it doesn't look like a project that appeals to the community or the surrounding neighbors.
And then I would just like to say, in areas like that, your best bet at stopping development is bring environmentalists in and look for endangered species, and in North Richmond area, Indian burial grounds. So you'll have better luck finding something like that to stop the construction of put a halt to the project.
Well, I mean,
that area is full of Indian burial grounds and endangered species.
Yeah, it does look like in the application, they have to include the Grayton Rancheria. And they did the analysis on the trees, but I think for today at least, and what I would highly recommend to the MAC board members or my fellow colleagues is for us to compose a letter and include it and send it to the staff person, Adrian Valise, not recommending this project.
Okay, hearing from Councilwoman Duce and hearing from staff, Cynthia Jordan. Upon this, as we see, this is a planning application. This is just a summary. And as we know what a summary is, just summarizing, telling what is the plan is to be proposed for this project. There are a lot of questions and there's a lot of things that have been brought up that is missing, that we would like to know more about on this. What I am suggesting at this point and to our staff, to more or less have a more in-depth investigation of what is needed and for it to return back to the board for us to look over at this point, because it's not as clear as one has stated, one of the councilwomen has stated, that they, it's not clear on what's being proposed. As our executive director from Urban Till has mentioned and highlighted about things has gone on. And as myself, looking at that area itself, it is noted for our Japanese, our former Japanese florists that has contributions to historical state within North Richmond. So at this point, I am suggesting that it should be more to come from this at this point instead of making a direct recommendation for this item that has been presented to us. Okay. And, all right. So thank you for your presentation. At this point, we will need more in-depth information and more clarity before we can decide on what we need to do and to vote on this recommendation at this time. Okay.
I do appreciate the feedback from the community, and I'll definitely take that back to our office for consideration. I appreciate everyone's time this evening.
Okay, thank you so very much. Okay, let's move on.
And Chair, just one last thing, I did propose to write a letter. Can we just get a vote on that? So I propose and I recommend that we write a letter as the MAC to not recommend the project until more, and that we still need more information as you suggested.
Okay, but see, this is what I just stated for to have more, for us to have more investigation and to have more information. I don't think a letter at this time is because it's in the minutes right now. As the presenter knows that we have what we've asked and what we've seen for right now is more or less incomplete for us to make a concrete decision. I don't think at this time that anyone needs to propose a letter. This individual knows what needs to be done. This is only a summary for right now. So when they bring it back to us, they know what they need to do. She's heard your concerns. She's heard what the community has said, and that we need to continue to move forward. Staff. Thank you. Next on the item, we move forward.
I agree, it should go on record and we should vote. It's still a recommendation.
Yes, it's a recommendation to move forward, not to move forward with it, but a recommendation is a staff for them to come to return back to us with more information.
The recommendation is to write a letter, to not move forward with it.
You were saying not to come totally, not to move forward with this item?
If you read, Madam.
I want to be clear, and I'm pretty sure everyone want to be clear. So what you're proposing for this to be scrapped, this would you know, to not move forward, are you saying to be scrapped, for this project to be scrapped? Is this what you're proposing?
So I do not have authority to say that the project should be scrapped.
Okay.
That is under the Department of Conservation and Development and the Planning Department. What I am proposing is that we write a letter as to the non-benefits or why this is not helpful to the community based on the comments we just heard. Because in the application process, the application is included in our agenda packet. It is over 15 pages long from Panettone. And so in that it says, if there are any comments, those should be submitted before November 15th.
Okay, so with that, could you make the statement for the motion?
Yes. The motion is, oh, sorry, what was that?
No, go ahead, please do, and then we'll take a vote.
Okay, so I motion that we write a letter for the application, including comments stated by the public and the reasoning for why this project is not going to benefit the community, so that it can be submitted to staff member Adrienne Velez before November 15th.
Okay, hearing that motion that is being stated, may I have a motion?
I motion to support that.
Okay, may I have a second? May I hear a second?
I second the motion.
Okay. At this time, I would like to have an individual stance, an individual vote of acceptance to this motion. As roll call staff, could you please?
Okay, roll call vote. Let's begin with Chair King Meredith.
Abstain.
And moving to Bev Scott,
Support, yes.
Lily Rodima,
I also abstain.
and is that everyone?
No, do say.
Don't say a princess.
Princess State, okay, don't say princess, okay. Lily and I abstain, and I guess that's it.
It appears to me that the motion fails with 3 in support, and it's a 7-member MAC.
Okay.
You need 4 votes to carry the motion. Yeah.
All right,
Thank you.
so did everyone hear that from my staff? Did everyone hear the decision?
We
Yeah.
are.
Okay, so with this presentation, again, as I stated before, we would like to invite you back to clarify a lot of the things that needs to be clarified. To come before us. Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to our next item. Okay. Item 6. That's the end of this. Item 6, the presentations and proclamations. The introduction of the French Line Project, 15 minutes. Who will be presenting that? Are they on the call?
Hello, yes, I will be my name is Graham Laird Prentice. I'll be presenting the project with my co-authors, Princess Robinson and Gita Kandagle, who are also on the call.
Okay, you're on.
All right, thank you. Just gonna share my screen here. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So thank you, everyone. As I said, my name is Graham. Really honored to be here presenting with the North Richmond MAC and to be here with my team. What we're sharing tonight is an idea for a public art project that is proposed to take place between the communities of Richmond and North Richmond and the Chevron refinery. What you're seeing is a concept drawing. This project is currently in the concept stage. Essentially what we wanted to do is share the concept with the members of the MAC to get feedback, and also to seek your support in pursuing creating this project in the real world with the participation of Richmond and North Richmond community members. The fence lines is the name of the project. And what it is, as I said, it's a temporary participatory art installation between the neighborhoods and the refinery. And what it is specifically addressing is the pollution, principally of air, but also of water, land, and people of this community for generations. The project is composed of reclaimed wooden slots painted in different colors, which are placed along the fence itself. And then ribbon. I'm sorry? Was there a question that?
No, I think someone just had their mic on. I think someone just had their mic open. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, we'll have plenty of time. I'd like to take all the questions. So let me just present the initial idea here first. But the idea is to also attach ribbons at the end, which animate the way that wind blows from the refinery into the community. The project is designed to amplify the voices of community here and invites individuals and families to record their stories and messages on the pieces of the project, documenting the impact of the industry and also forming a kind of collective monument to the resilience of this community in the face of pollution and so many other challenges. So this project is the result of now 4 years of myself collaborating with Princess and other North Richmond and Richmond organizations on environmental, infrastructural, and affordable housing projects. And we're really excited to see what a kind of specially designed kind of art format can bring into this space as a way of actually celebrating the community here and lifting up all of the aligned work that folks are doing to work towards a just transition. Princess or Gita, do you want to add anything to that?
Thank you so much, Graham. And like just piggybacking off of what Graham said, this was a project that we kind of all came together on. It's an art installation just to really capture the way the wind blows and to really show that the fence line between Richmond and Chevron. So yeah, this is it was an idea, and I'm excited for it. So thank you, Graham.
Thank you. Yes. So just a little bit of more high level information. Like as I said, the project is in a concept design, so we've created a format for it. However, we don't have a particular site identified for the installation itself. Part of what we're trying to do in this early stage of the process is figure out the best location for it. But there are miles and miles of fence lines between the residential neighborhoods and the industry of, well, the many industries, and including the refinery. This is just like a particular snapshot example of what that looks like along the parkway, as I'm sure many of you are familiar with. And then it's also dealing with, you know, the consistent flare-ups, which were just also brought up earlier in this meeting, and the persistent environmental injustice that is just a circumstance of living in a frontline community in Richmond or North Richmond. So the fence lines comes in as imagining a way to stand with and highlight the organizing work that's going on in Richmond, and also create a kind of a celebratory message to lift up that work. Geeta, do you want to talk a little bit about the format?
I think Graham touched on this briefly, but I think one of the things that we, part of the things we are envisioning doing with this project is also bringing voice to community members and also celebrating a lot of the past organizing efforts and work that has gone on. And so we envision the fence lines installation as kind of being a collection of all of those voices, a collage of all of the different messages that folks may have, and just hopes and dreams, and for a better, cleaner future. And so the concept or the materiality that we've imagined is pretty simple, just using, as Grim mentioned, reclaimed lumber slats that we've cut down to fit within the panels of a kind of standard fence format that can be layered up, and that our team would prepare with paint and ribbons to create kind of this base layer that can get layered on top of the fence. And then something that we're excited about as part of the process of creating this project is the community participation aspect of it. So working with different organizations locally and institutions, community groups that we can kind of collaborate with and set up workshops with potentially during other ongoing events, or working with them to gather groups and create settings where we have everything set up for community members and families and kids to come and participate and write their messaging to incorporate into the fence line.
Thank you, Geeta, so much. Yes. And as you all know, Graham, this is a picture from when RBD came to North Richmond. We have been working with multiple organizations around Richmond on so many initiatives to create a more just environment and just economy. And so, yeah, we are hoping to keep working with all of these organizations and getting support from all of these organizations. Next slide, Graham. We also plan to hopefully exhibit this in the Richmond Museum. And yeah, it would be great if we can get help with that as well. But this is in our plans to exhibit this in the Richmond Museum, this installation.
That's right. Yeah. So the project is funded by several Bay Area based arts organizations who believe in the work and in creating publicly accessible artwork, and also lifting up these themes of environmental justice that are so time sensitive right now. So this is our kind of again what we're sharing as far as a sort of concept stage. But we also wanted to kind of share a preliminary schedule and work plan in sort of soliciting the feedback of the MAC. So what we're intending to do is to work in essentially aiming to create the installation for the later part of next summer. So the first part of next year will be prepping the material and securing, the local site permissions for where the best location is deemed for the project. And then through the spring and early summer, and even in tandem with the installation, performing the workshops that Gita was describing, so that we can create as broad of a kind of an outreach and participation as possible with Richmond and North Richmond residents, utilizing this participatory format. All the folks that participate will have their portrait taken if they wish, and that will be part of a living document that is a companion to the physical installation on site. So the picture of Princess there that you saw earlier was based on our prototype exercise. So everyone in Richmond and North Richmond who identifies with this project can be part of this portrait and document as we're working towards a just transition. And then finally, again, at a conceptual level, just sharing that we hope that the scale of the project is large enough to create a bold statement to the public, and also that's visible to the refinery. So the slats will extend above the existing chain link fence, and so the ribbons can freely move in the air, and kind of create a presencing of the community through these bright colors along the fence. And then just finally, the exhibition is an optional. We're still identifying if we have reached out to the Richmond Art Center and haven't heard back yet, but we're hoping to work with them or another local institution to help host and really broaden the impact of the project and exhibit the portraits also.
Okay. I'm sorry, are we done?
That's okay. I just to make it easy for everybody, because I know that a fairly lot of information to digest. What we're asking tonight is for the MAC members, your general feedback and hopefully support for the project. We're circulating a letter of support that we got unanimous support from the Richmond Art Power Coalition and other individual community organizations in Richmond, Watershed Project and others. So we're gonna seek support for that, but also we just want to get general feedback. And then of course the MAC is made up of individuals, so we hope that you yourselves will participate in this project, and hope that you will share it with your networks and organizations, and would love to hear what you have to say as far as improving or making it happen. And then generally we're trying to get feedback and guidance with respect to the best siting of the project, the expanding of the participation and other applicable resources. So Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Okay, well, thank you so very much for your presentation. I see that it is a presentation at this time. So do we have any comments? And we're going to kind of keep within the time constraints right now. But do we have any comments from the council at this time? Okay.
Cynthia Jordan has her hand.
Okay, I was just getting ready to close it down. Okay, Cynthia, staff, go ahead. Hello? Is she mute?
Oh, it looks like you're muted.
Please unmute.
Okay, this particular project is going to be outside, exposed to the elements, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Okay, for how long a period of time you plan on leaving it outside, outdoors?
Yeah. So I think we might have not left that slide up for long enough to see, but the proposal right now is we're looking to do 3 to 6 weeks. Is
Okay.
the duration of the installation?
Yeah, because like I don't quite understand what your purpose is. Is it to expose the Chevron, what their when they have emissions or what? But I've been an environmental justice organizer for Community for Better Environment, and all I can say is all you're gonna get is those slats and stuff is just gonna get dirty, real dirty and dark and stuff. They're gonna lose their color like quick, fast, and in a hurry because of the emission from Chevron. And you just have to keep that in mind. That you putting something up there real colorful, but in weeks they're gonna be covered in soot. That's it.
I'll briefly share. I love this project, and feel free to reach out to support in any way.
Go right ahead. Oh, comment? So not hearing any others? Jackie, did you have a comment? No. And then I did you have a comment? Okay, well, thank you so very much for your presentation. And we're looking forward for the outcome of the presentation of the flags. Okay, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay. All right. Next on our agenda is the presentation from Urban Till Forum and its Community Advisory Council and Forum Tour. Please present. Who is that? And due to our constraint of time, I think if I'm seeing is that 22. Okay, 27. So we can have a presentation if we can keep it within that time frame, please.
Yeah, I'll go as fast as I can. I'm gonna share.
Executive Director, you don't have to rush within the time frame. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I would like to share my screen. I'm going to bring up the right thing to share. And bear with me for a minute. All right, hopefully everybody's seeing that. Okay, so I'm here tonight to give everyone, first up, an update on where we are with the North Richmond Farm Project. And then second and third, I want to have you all keep in mind while I'm giving my presentation that we're actually reaching out tonight to ask someone from the MAC or someone's from the MAC or someone that you know who are North Richmond residents to join our Community Advisory Committee. For a number of reasons that I'll say when I talk about our update, we are reconstituting our Community Advisory Committee. to help us govern this land that we just purchased from the county. And so we actually want to create a community-driven governance process that includes a minimum of 3 reserved seats on our community advisory board for North Richmond residents. So that's like one of the biggest things I'm coming to you all tonight for, is to ask if there's anybody who's a MAC member who would like to serve on the community advisory committee, or if you know anyone who would like to serve, and then ask you to apply. We are reserving 3 seats explicitly and only for North Richmond residents, 3 seats on an 11-member board. And then there's seats that are reserved for the Native American community as well, the Ohlone. And then finally, I'd also like you to keep in mind while I go through the update that we would love to have the MAC out to the farm to give you a tour of the site as it exists today. It's been a long time since we've had MAC members out, and so much has changed and so much is planned. And you can come and see where we are right now. I think you'd be really proud. I think you'd be maybe surprised at how far we've come. Can't really see all we're doing from the outside. So I want to keep those 2 things in mind. And then I'm gonna go through this presentation and say the first thing is on September 14th, the Contra Costa Board of Supervisors approved the sale of 323 Brookside Drive to Urban Tilth. So we purchased the property. We now own it forever and ever. And we did that. Yes, that was a big deal. That was a big deal. You know, to have a community organization run by and for Richmond, San Pablo residents actually purchase a piece of property that's historic and do this project on our own is a big deal. That doesn't happen so often. So I wanted to just share that news with everyone. And then I also want to say the reason why we went that route is because when we first had our first community advisory committee and went through the whole process of asking people what they wanted to see on the site, people had really big dreams. They wanted, you know, a place where people could gather and have outdoor concerts and do like summertime movies and have a community room and have a farm store and have all whatever. And we listened. And so we actually built a vision for the farm that includes almost all of those things. And the only way we would get enough investment to build those things was to actually own the land. People wouldn't invest if we were just leasing. So I'm actually going to go through and show you where we are tonight. So here's the project. Here's the overview of how we envision the site in its final iteration. You can see that there's a few buildings being built, and I'm going to go into what those buildings are as we move forward. But first, I wanted to say this, and that is, although Urban Tilth is an urban farming organization, I think one of the biggest things, one of the most important things that we grow is the capacity of leaders in our own community. So this is a statement that actually Princess, who came to us at a moment in time, and we were so happy to meet her and so happy to give her space in that initial period of her growth to grow. And she made the statement that when I was 24, working odd jobs and sleeping in my family's living room, I was trying to survive and sending out my resume to everyone and anyone. Then Urban Tilth gave me an opportunity to co-manage a 3-year apprenticeship program at Wildcat Creek in North Richmond. Soon I was getting paid to take care of my neighborhood and learn about watershed and revitalizing the environment. At the farm groundbreaking, I planted one of the very first seeds, but only later realized that Urban Tilth had planted seeds inside of me too. My mind grew, my heart grew, my life grew. Now I help residents open cooperative businesses that create assets and ownership for my people. Because of Urban Tilth, I know exactly who I am and where I'm going. So I want to say that although the first thing that come to people's minds when they think of Urban Tilth is the gardens, the farms, the school programs, the greenway. What we are doing is we are employing and helping to give people who are part of this community, who grew up here like me, the wings they need to be the leaders that we need to create the community that we all deserve. Princess is not alone. We employ currently 49 people year-round at living wage jobs doing things that they love. So I just wanted to make that point as we move through the slides. So again, Urban Health, we've been around for 16 years. We employ 49 people. We have 7 different sites, 7 different programs. We have a watershed restoration program that now has contracts with the city of Albany, the Contra Costa Flood Control District, the city of Richmond, city of Hercules, East Bay Regional Parks, employing North Richmond residents as watershed technicians to take care of those agencies' lands and teaching them how to do it. Over the last 2020, due to the pandemic, we were forced to grow. The site was already a magnet for hundreds of people coming to the farm, even as it exists today, without the pretty buildings and everything. We would see over 2,000, sometimes 3,000 people per year. In 2022 was 2,280 community members came to the farm to help build, grow, plant, do all these different things. We also, like I said before, employ 49 residents. We also distributed 62,000 pounds of fresh food. That means that 11,000 CSA boxes went out weekly to local families. Half of those went for free. During the pandemic, we were really forced to grow in order to actually make space on the land to do all that growing and everything. And we've grown as far as we possibly can with all of our temporary buildings. And we're really at a point where we have to grow in order to accommodate the need and accommodate just the inspiration of our community members who want to see this work. So I put this slide back in. We have a number of different slides talking about the benefits of the farm, but you know, the way that we're envisioning the development of the property, it will create 30 new jobs, not existing jobs, new jobs for local residents, jobs in the cafe that's planned, jobs in the commercial kitchen that's planned, jobs in the new nursery, jobs in the farm store. So we wanted to make that really clear to everyone. We're going to be building the farm in phases. It's a big project. We actually have all the funds we need. We launched our capital campaign last year in September, and we currently have all the funds we need to build phase 1 and half of the funds we need to build phase 2. We believe we'll have enough funds to build phase 2 by the spring. And construction is starting, period, in the spring. So this project is on. This is not an if, this is when. One of the big things that we're really proud of and what we heard is that getting to the farm was not safe. There's no sidewalks, there's no bike lanes for people who ride bikes. It's also no trees or anything like that. So one of the things we have as a part of this project is the Fred Jackson Way Improvement Project that we're doing with Contra Costa County to actually put in a sidewalk, rain gardens, a bike lane along Fred Jackson Way, all the way to the farm and then along the farm so that it will be safe for people to come from North Richmond by foot, by bike, or otherwise to benefit from the farm. We're really proud of that. We got that Prop 1 grant, and that also goes into construction in the spring. Another thing we're going to be doing is building a lot of infrastructure. We have a lot of temporary buildings that people gave us along the way. We're building this new greenhouse with a lot of anti-rodent things and things that will help us grow more food, more space to grow more food. One of the other things that the greenhouse allows us to do is actually grow extra plants to give away to local school, community, church garden projects so that we can use our facility to actually help other projects do what they want to do. It doesn't, for us, it's no big deal to plant, 20 extra plants, 30 extra plants of this or that or the other, or ask people what they want us to grow and give those plants away. So we're really excited to add that to what we can offer if we have a bigger greenhouse. We're also going to have a watershed center. So that program that trains young people from North Richmond to be watershed technicians will have a home. Right now, they kind of bop around. They meet under the willow tree and they meet in whatever open room they could possibly get. They'll actually have a home so we can welcome in more people, maybe offer that program more often, maybe offer other programs like how to do gray water installations so people could start their own contracting businesses, making a lot of money. There's a lot of people who are doing gray water, like in Berkeley and whatnot. There's like a backlog to install gray water systems in Berkeley. The one construction guy told me for 2 years. Wouldn't we like our North Richmond young people to be starting businesses to capture that market? The front of the big main building is called the main barn, and it will be where there'll be a store open every day with fresh produce, an apocryphy with herbs, and somebody who knows how to use those herbs to help people with different kinds of health needs. This store will be classically like Urban Till style, where it's sliding scale. So if you don't have money, you can come and get fruits and vegetables for free. And then other people who have money, who have resources, can pay and help to keep everything going, keep everything afloat, and help to employ those young people who will be running that store. And not only just running the store, but again, in classic Urban Till style, we're going to teach them how to run a small business, how to do the books, how to do the ordering, how to keep it presentable, how to have a public face, how to show up on time, ready to work. So it'll be an amazing asset. We're also going to have a cafe right on campus where you can actually eat the food that we grow. You can come for lunch, you can come for breakfast, you can come for coffee, and another place for people to work, and then a place for people to gather. There'll also be free Wi-Fi there. So you can have meetings, you can come and get something delicious that won't kill you, it'll be healthy, be good. Excited about that. And then finally, well, we're installing a history walk that'll run through the whole length of the farm. And along that walk, we've been working with the Richmond History Museum. And now we hope to work with the Community Advisory Committee to create and put into the walk informative boards and other things that are actually in the sidewalk that help to tell the history of this area. There are so many leaders who have come through, and it's important when somebody comes to the farm that they don't just say they have to go down Fred Jackson Way to get there, but they should learn who Fred Jackson was at the farm. That it's not just a name on a sign, but it's actually living history. It's history that is all around us. So this is another really important part of the farm to us, is to tell that history, starting in the Ohlone area. It's the front of the site, like I mentioned before, in the intersection of Fred Jackson Way and Brookside Drive is an Ohlone village. It's an archaeological site, the whole area is. So we've been working with the local Ohlone and the most likely descendant for the people who are from this particular area to design an area in the front of the site that preserves that any archaeological assets that are underground, and helps to tell their story and share it with people so we understand that our history in this area starts with them and goes through a number of different ethnic groups who've come into the area, number of different contributions from all different folks. We don't want to forget their names and we don't want to forget their contributions. And so that is a main part of the site, and it's the end of phase 5 of construction. And so I'm ending on my ask. When we bought the lands, we knew that we would need to change the structure of Urban Tilth in order to make sure that not only the governance of the nonprofit, but the governance of the land was shared with the community. So we want to enter into a process now, starting with forming the community advisory again, to help us govern the land. The way that we imagine the Community Advisory Committee working at this point in time is for it to be a check on all the programs that we're offering on the farm site to make sure that we're continuing to serve the community. It'll also be a place where people can bring ideas for new programs that need to be running in order to better serve the community. It'll be a place where we take any events that we want to have and give feedback, of any new projects we want to do and get feedback. And it will be a place that our board will work with in order to actually revise the bylaws of Urban Tilth to make specific seats on our board, our 501c3 board, for residents, for local residents. So the Community Advisory Committee will work with our board to change the bylaws of Urban Tilth. And then we imagine that maybe some of the people who are on the advisory committee will actually also transition to be on the board. So we're opening up this invitation. We have an online form here. Currently, we're in the way we have it formed now is that the first cohort of community advisory members, there'll be 3 spots reserved explicitly for North Richmond residents and 3 spots explicitly reserved for people of Ohlone descent. And then the remaining 5 spots will be open for people to apply. And that's kind of what I have that. And I really would love to invite and work with somebody on the MAC to actually host a tour just for the MAC. So you can come see the site in person. You can meet the folks that are working and like hear directly from, local residents who are actually making all this stuff happen. And that's what I have. And I'd love to hear any feedback or questions. I can go into a lot more detail on any of the things that I shared with you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all for welcoming us back. I'm sorry, somehow we got disconnected. And so at the last 10 minutes that was being presented, we weren't able to be a part of that presentation. And for that, I apologize for that. This is technology. And we missed the end of the presentation that you have given during. We apologize. It's one of these flukes that happen. So anyway, as you have summed it up, are you done with the presentation for everyone that's online and had an opportunity to hear what you had to present? At this point, it's just the ones here in-house at the center did not get a chance to hear the ending of the presentation.
Yeah, I'm finished with the presentation. I have no more to present, but I'm open to any questions or comments that if people have.
Okay. So due to this time right now, it is 7 o'clock, and I need to, in order for us to continue, I guess, to hear our agency report, to actually have a motion to extend about 10 minutes, because at this time you are done, Dorian. And if we don't have any questions at this time from, from the audience.
I see Princess Robinson and we'll say Alicia.
Okay, so if we can keep it really short and sweet at this time, because we're gonna have to extend the time for at least 10 minutes.
Yes, I'm gonna keep it really short. I just wanted to uplift with you. Thank you, Doria, for being here presenting. Just wanted to uplift the residents in the room right now. At Linda, at Leticia, just letting y'all know that is available to be on the community advisory committee for the North Richmond Farm, and it would really be great if y'all could be there. Joe, I see you, Joe.
Okay, very good. Who else was it?
Me, Dulce, really quickly.
Okay.
I love the farm. My question was, when is the deadline? And it looks like it's at the end of the month. And just want to show off these beautiful flowers I got at the farm. Gorgeous. Thank you, Doria, for the lovely presentation.
Very good. Thank you all. Okay, so as I'm pretty sure, just to reiterate, Dorian is looking for individuals to participate on the urban field form, and also for individuals from the MAC to actually come out for a tour. So with that, Dorian, you have information to put in the chat for everyone. As the MAC members, we can contact you, but anyone else that's online, if you can put that information for contact, please do so in the chat. Okay? And thank you so very much for the presentation, the part that we heard. I know it was very well presented, and you've done outstanding work. Thank you so very much. Now, with that, I would like to have a motion to extend this meeting for at least 10 minutes. Is that good for everybody? At least 10 minutes to give out a report, our agency report. So may I have a motion to do that, please?
I motion to extend the meeting an additional 10 minutes.
Thank you. Is that Dulce?
Yes.
Okay. Second. May I have a second?
Princess, I second that.
Thank you, Princess. Okay, all in favor? Saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposers at this time? Okay, hearing none, 10 minutes. Okay, now let's go into our agency program reports. May we have the City of Richmond Community Service Department? Do we have a representative there? Okay, hearing none, there are. Okay, how about Healthy Richmond? No one from Healthy Richmond? Okay. Okay, staff Rogers, may we have your report from Supervisor John Joy's office?
Yes, thank you, Chair King Meredith. I will be brief. I appreciate it. It's been a long meeting. We've got a lot done. Thanks so much. A few items. First, November 26th, the day after Thanksgiving, a very special event here in this community at Shields Reed Park. It's an event by the family of Jamarie Frazier, J-Mac. Many of us knew him. He was tragically slain in 2019. A young man, a child really, that was senselessly lost. The event is being put together by his family, and it's a resource and community event at Shields Reed Park on Friday, November 26th, from noon to 5 p.m. Please attend if you can and support the family. They're a beautiful family here in our community. Verde School, the annual John Joya fundraiser for the children of Verde is about to start. I know practically everybody here donates every year to the children, and we hope that your support continues. We're deciding now whether we'll have a virtual party or a real party at Supervisor Joya's office. That a lot depends on the health officer's recommendation. But stay tuned. This year we'll be raising funds for books and a new art project on the wall of the student building right next to Miss Mesa's Urban Hill Garden. We want an art piece to go on with the beautification that we've been doing in the school for the last several years. We want to keep building on that. We've gotten so much feedback from children and parents about how beautiful the school looks and how art that children are reading is really livening it up. So let's all continue to be part of that. Clean Slate Day is coming up this weekend on November 6th. Please let everybody know, your family, your friends, anyone who could benefit. It's put on by our county public defender's office, and juvenile records, adult records, felonies, misdemeanors, fines, all that stuff is in play. Our public defenders are helping people clean their records and get back on their lives or improve their lives, and just remove an obstacle that's not necessary. Clean Slate Day is at our Reentry Success Center at 912 McDonald this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Please let everybody know. If any of these items, by the way, if you missed them, just call me, text me, email me, and I'll get you the information. But it's really good stuff. Lastly, I only have about 2 minutes, but I want to be very brief on this. There was a cannabis project that came before the MAC months ago at 703 Chesley, and it was opposed. This cannabis project is not a retail project. It's a manufacturing or cultivation inside of the building. So there's very limited exposure to the outside. Still, it was opposed by the MAC. After review and went through all the various processes, it was approved because that's the county's law about where cannabis facilities can go. This spot fit right in. However, Supervisor Joya and Don Gilmore, on behalf of the MAC, jumped in and did what they could to come up with a package that would be good for the community. The packages was taken directly from what the MAC was asking for initially during the presentations. 5% minimum operating income every year is going to go to the community of North Richmond to be directed for expenditure by the MAC in consultation with the county supervisor and the board of supervisors. That's 5% or $19,000 every year, whichever is greater. That's a significant chunk of change that the MAC will have a great discretion in directing every year. There will also be there's a provision, 25% of the workforce has to be from North Richmond and 50% from Richmond total. So 25% minimum jobs in North Richmond, 50% minimum jobs from Richmond and North Richmond. Local vendors must be used to procure items affecting or relating to the business there to whatever extent possible. And the site will participate in the North Richmond Resource Center that created with Don Gilmore to think about job training and other resources for residents. They shall participate in the North Richmond Resource Center and designate an officer or facility manager to serve on that center's job development committee. So those were among the provisions. The documents are all online, but I can forward you the link for that as well. And so, that was an opportunity where there was a bad thing that happened, and then there was an opportunity to make it better. And in particular, to be able to enact or enforce a lot of what the MAC was arguing for initially. So there's more to come on that. We can talk more, but this is a very brief presentation. So again, recap, JMAC Fraser's event the day after Thanksgiving at Shields Reading, please attend. Clean Slate Day on Saturday, great event for all members of the community, and many of us need it, right? We need those tickets taken off. We need those records expunged. The birthday school holiday fundraiser, keep your eye out for it. Come to Supervisor Joy's party, and let's all chip in a few bucks to help the kids at birthday school. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Staff Rogers. Next on our agency and committee meetings, CHC, Don isn't here, and we will be expounding on that, so we're gonna pass on that. Our next one will be CHC mitigation coordinator, which is Victor. If you could give a brief report, please.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. My name is Victor, and I'm the community service coordinator. I just want to inform everybody that we have begun doing the patrol walks. We actually started today, and it was very successful. They will be happening every month, every first Tuesday of the month throughout the year. And I will have the report for everybody for the next meeting because it just happened today. And another thing that I want to let you guys know is that I'm working on the December newsletter for next month, and it should be out by December 1st.
Very good.
And I just, on addition to that, I just want to give a shout out to Tanya, who was on the patrol walk today. And as if everybody already know that Tanya used to do this a couple of years ago. So she's with Supervisor John Joya's office now, but she is still in North Richmond working. And she was very instrumental with the patrol walk today. So thank you, Tanya.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. The mitigation coordinator. Okay, I left the Corporation Richmond. Do we have anyone to speak?
Yes, I will be representing Cooperation Richmond today. Joanna is not here, she couldn't make it. But Cooperation Richmond, we are a fairly new organization coming to the MAC. We started coming last month. And sorry, one second. I'm sorry, that was my daughter. And what we do is we help residents launch and develop cooperative enterprises. So if you don't know what a cooperative is, essentially all it is the workers that work for the company are the actual owners for the company. And so we help residents develop and launch those type of enterprises, and we want to work with as many residents as we can. So I just want to let you know we have launched our virtual co-op cafe series. This is an online event that you can come to. It's a webinar. I do send these emails out to Robert, so you should be getting them. It's all over our social media as well. But we really, most importantly, intimately want to work specifically with North Richmond residents with residents in Richmond to really develop these cooperative enterprises so that we can change our economy to a more just economy and create more generational wealth for our people. So that's Cooperation Richmond update, but I will share those virtually with Robert, those emails, in the way that you can register for those co-op cafes and get in contact with me personally. I'm a loan coach, so I can help with any type of business needs. Just go ahead and reach out to me. I'll send my email out. I also, before I hop off, I just want to uplift a comment here that Bertha and Leticia recommended we should have interpretation in these meetings so that more people can be involved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so very much. Okay, and also, I had asked before, and I don't see it, but if we have, Shield Neighborhood Council, representative president on the line, if you want to get an update, that would be a continuum to put as the agency, staff Rogers for now, Shield.
Apologies.
Okay, is Marina Brown still there?
I think she had to get off and go to class.
She had to get off, okay.
Class.
All right. Okay, well, with that, I guess on her behalf, I would just like to report out one of the activities that went on for under the neighborhood councils was the trunk or treat that actually took place on Sunday, on Halloween. And we had so many cars, many cars, but it was a great success at Hilltop. It took place from 5:30 to 8:30. And we had many cars, and all the representatives of the neighborhood councils were there to give out treats. So that was under the neighborhood council and North Richmond, Iron Triangle, and Parkchester, represented very well. So thank you very much, and that is from the Shield Neighborhood Council on the behalf of our council at this point. Now, with that, we're gonna adjourn the meeting.
Okay, I have something to say, Annie.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, seems like I keep raising my hand all throughout the meeting. I keep getting overlooked, but it happens all the time.
Well, I can see that for.
But anyhow, Dr. Clark just called me during the meeting, and he wants to say hello to everyone. He's been hospitalized since Friday, and he said he's being released tonight. He's going to the house, and he's like under hospice care. And they're putting hospital bed in the room, the whole 9 yards. So if you guys want to reach out to Dr. Clark and send him a goodwill or whatever, I'm sure Robert could provide you with his contact information. And I also say, I know I've sent an email to everybody that I'm hosting my little Thanksgiving senior event out here in Oakley, and I'm still seeking donations. And everybody have an email, so we'll see what happens. Should work out pretty fine. And thank you. And one more thing to Doria. Every time you mention the progress of the urban tilt garden, I just think about the day that Supervisor John Joya came to us with the idea. He had went to Oregon and seen this great development up there in Oregon, and he came back here and he wanted to make it a reality, and it's happening. So that's a good thing.
Thank you so very much.
Have a good evening.
Thank you so very much, staff. Okay, with that, we're gonna adjourn the meeting. We do not have to do a first or second. You know, we can adjourn it, the chair can adjourn it, and this is what I'm gonna do. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your presentations at this point. And hope to see you next month. Our next meeting, December the 7th. Thank you for your participation, and have a good night and a good week.
Thank you, Chair King. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Good night, everyone. Take care of yourselves.
Good night.
Okay. All right. Oh, Lord, did you know that Bill